Hey, welcome to the Relentless Positivity Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Martin, and you better buckle up today. My guest today, she wears so many hats. You're just not ready for all these hats. Let me just go through a few of them. She's a powerhouse in the world of beauty, fashion, and entertainment. She's also an international best-selling author, podcast host, inventor, makeover specialist, and even a farmer. Oh, she plays Pearl on the slightly well-known show, General Hospital. Andy Paige, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be with you. And I love the mission of your podcast because, I've been accused of being toxically positive. In other words, I'm positive to a fault. And I think that relentless positivity is what ultimately creates happiness. And it's that little ripple effect that can really affect everyone within, your area of service. So I am completely dedicated to what you're doing. And I love being on today.
See, that's why you're on. We need more people like you out there in the world. So thank you so much for being here. Like I said, we got to get into this. We got so much we got to cover right here. So I want to kind of take it back way back. So you grew up in a small town in Alabama. How did that contribute to your obvious work ethic and drive?
I am so fortunate that I had an amazing grounding and foundation. I'm very proud to be from a small town called Chickasaw, Alabama, which is on the Gulf Coast. And I was primarily raised by my grandparents, and I also lived right across the street from my great-grandparents. So I had a lot of traditional values. I was a member of the Chickasaw First Baptist Church, and I believe that it set the foundation for, like you mentioned, my work ethic and my drive, and also really my determination not to let people down. I mean, God was, rained on me the ability to be tall. I know that sounds a little crazy, but if I had not been 5'11" by the time I was 10 years old, wow. I often say that I would be a really good checker at the Piggly Wiggly, or I would have been a fantastic postmaster. My life would have just been very different had I not been tall. But because I was tall, I was given a world of opportunity, and I was going to take advantage of all of it. And I didn't want to let the people I loved most in that small town, Alabama, down.
Wow, 5'11" at 10 is amazing right there.
It was bananas. I was the tallest. So in the fifth grade, I was just a little under 6 feet tall, and I was the tallest. I was taller than all the work staff, the gardeners, the janitorial staff, the cafeteria workers, teachers, principal. I was the tallest person in the fifth grade.
Wow. So I imagine some awkwardness comes with that. I have a son, he's 6'6" now. So he went through some stages right there. What were those kind of baby deer on ice stage look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, when someone suggested that I should model, I was just like, I felt like the ugliest cretin that walks the planet. I mean, because, I'm Andy Paige, so you can imagine my name is Andrea. And at that time, there was Andre the Giant, right? So I was called Andre the Giant for years. And I don't know if you recall, he was not especially an attractive human. I mean, it was ingrained in me that I was not attractive and that I was, just awkward and unappealing. So when someone told me that that was a positive and I could use it to some kind of benefit or that it was an opportunity, I was completely floored. But again, man plans and God laughs. So I'm very grateful.
That's it. Man, if you're listening right now, just make a note how important it is to give life to kids like that. Just feed life, speak life into them. Grandparents are doing the same thing. Man, one little thing like that, if you just give them, oh, maybe I am worthwhile. Maybe I can be something in this life. Look where it led you. It led you to General Hospital. So I kind of want to get into that. How do you go from a little town in Alabama to General Hospital? I got to know that story.
You have to believe, you're not going to believe it when I tell you this is my very first acting job. So some of your listeners may know me from my television career. In the 2000s, I did hundreds of episodes of television, but it was reality television. I was a beauty and style expert on an Emmy-winning show called Starting Over. I did 3 years of that show, hundreds of episodes. I had my own show on A&E called Sense of Style. I did a couple of seasons of 10 Years Younger and How Do I Look? And so I contributed to, makeover television at its, which is fantastic. And I talk about, planting seeds. So life takes all kinds of twists and turns. And ultimately, those kinds of shows kind of went out of vogue, which is totally fine. And I went on to do other things. I'm currently a host on QVC. So I host, products. I sell products, and I'm one of the people that's fortunate enough to go on QVC. So all of the producers that I worked with for years in Los Angeles and California working in reality television, they've moved on as well. And so a couple of them are now on the General Hospital lot. And when it came time for this specific role, and Pearl is actually home shopping host within the storyline on General Hospital. They remembered that they had seen on LinkedIn that I was now doing, and they remembered me as someone who showed up on time, always prepared. I try and make every situation better and not worse. And they remembered that they enjoyed working with me, and they reached out to me on literally a Thursday. And by Friday, I had the role of Pearl on General Hospital, and I needed to really harken back to that one acting class that I took in college.
Man, it paid off. That must have been a heck of a class.
Right. As you can imagine, the role as, a home shopping host is something I'm really comfortable with, but it is very different having to memorize and say lines because, when I'm on QVC and I'm selling you something, I'm giving you my opinion, and I'm telling you all the features and the benefits and why it's so great and why it's a perfect gift and, all of those things. But it's very different trying to have the same enthusiasm for someone else's words. So it has been an education.
So what was your technique for memorizing that? Was it just straight sit there and just hammer it out? Because I got to do a little acting a couple of years ago, my first time ever. I don't have any background either. So they crushed me with all the dialogue. The guy he said, man, we just got you a few lines. There was paragraphs and it was tough to memorize. What was your technique?
Well, I definitely would love to hear more about that, but I will tell you that it was made very clear to me that on a show like General Hospital, where they shoot 50 to 60 scenes a day, they create 250 episodes of television, network television a year. And their shooting schedule is bananas. 4 days a week, they shoot from 5 a.m. to noon, and then from 1 a.m. to 8. And they shoot anywhere from 50 to 60 scenes a day. So there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of memorization, there's a lot going on. And as a result, you get one practice, they film one practice, and they film one actual shot. And if you flub either one of those, then they will, put it together. But you don't get a second chance. So it was made extremely clear to me that I needed to know my lines. I needed to be able to do it. I needed to practice, until I had it perfect before I walked out on set. But I will tell you that the thing that you don't see behind the scenes are all of the places where there are like little cues. I mean, people are writing things on their arm. They're writing things on their hand. There are scripts underneath pillows and things taped to the floor and things taped like all over the place. So because there's so much dialogue and there is so much pressure to get it right, behind the camera are all kinds of cues, and it's actually quite comical.
That's very cool. So can you give me some more kind of behind the scenes things that maybe people don't know? You've told us a little bit, man. I had no idea they were doing that many episodes and that many scenes per day. That is bananas. What is some more behind the scenes stuff?
What you don't realize is, first of all, when I tell people that I'm the latest cast member of General Hospital, usually people say, that's still on the air? And I'm like, yes. And it is the longest running television show in television history, which is amazing. This is the 61st year, which is unbelievable. They have won, almost 20 Emmys just for writing alone. So the writing, the storyline, everyone has a General Hospital story because there's so many amazing actors that have been born out of their role on General Hospital. Liz Taylor was on General Hospital. There's, of course, the Luke and Laura, and, Blackie was John Stamos. And I mean, it goes on and on and on. There's so many amazing people that have come from the show. So the thing that is so amazing is every set is basically set and it stays that way. And it's just a matter of the cameras moving from set to set to set. So that's a big time savings. And so they'll turn on the lights in one set, they move the cameras over there, and then you just work in that area. And it's almost like in the round. So if you can imagine, everything is in the middle and all of the sets are kind of in a circular motion, which is fascinating and it's genius. And then, the other thing that's so unbelievable is people have no idea that there are hundreds of people behind the scenes making it all happen. I mean, hairdressers and the wardrobe department is unbelievable for all the characters, and makeup, and then there's the lighting and sound and all of the production assistants. And people just don't, when you're watching, you have no idea the amount of energy and effort that come together to create something that you've enjoyed for a long time. But I'm telling you, it's an amazing show. It's a legacy show. I'm so happy to be a part of it. And one of the things that I'd also love to tell you about is some of the innovations on the show.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
So for those listeners who, watch the show, there has been for the past 20 years a storyline of Deception Beauty. And it's been a great storyline because Deception Beauty has taken the fans into the opportunity to watch products be developed and, what that's like. And Deception Beauty it's run by these powerhouse women who are gorgeous and they're like, backstabbing and, it's all the drama. But what has happened is most of us are not really watching television the same way. I mean, most of us stream television. Wouldn't you say that's the case for you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Which is wonderful because we get to do what? Avoid the ads. But the truth is, it's called a soap opera because soap used to pay for it. So as people are watching television in a different way, they've had to become a little more creative on how you're going to keep this legacy show going, right? So ABC and General Hospital came up with this incredible concept that I believe if it catches on, and this is an experiment, but if it catches on, I think this is going to be the real wave of the future. Because 2 to 3 million people a day still watch General Hospital, but many of them stream it. So they're avoiding all of the ads. So with the Deception storyline, and I'm a part of the Home and Heart storyline, which is the storyline of the home shopping network. So, I'm the QVC host, but I'm Home and Heart. So I'm the shopping host within Home and Heart. So General Hospital decided that they were going to truly, in reality, develop some of the products that the fans had been asking for years, right? So the first thing that was launched is the Deceptor, which is a red light therapy wand, which fans watched be in development for over a year in the storyline. And they watched prototypes being developed and what it was like to be patented and just all of that. So it was an education. And then they brought the Deceptor red light therapy wand to Home and Heart. And now they have developed a website called shophomeandheart.com, and everything that is brought to the Home and Heart, kind of fake, if you will, or storyline shopping network can now be purchased. And that's one of the ways that, you're both being demonstrated products, there's a connection and education with the products, and the fans can enjoy and be a part of really what they saw develop. And, as I have talked about this, I have said to many people, imagine if you could have bought Fonzie's jacket, right? Or if, for my generation, if I could have bought, Monica and Rachel's hair products. So what's going to happen, we think, and again, this is a big experiment, but television is just going to be very different as advertising shifts. And you eventually are going to be able to buy everything that you see within a set, whether it's, this clock on the wall that you see here, or, an outfit that your favorite artist has, or even the hat that you have on. You're going to be able to consume that and you'll have a connection to it. And it's a way that these shows are going to be able to sustain themselves.
Man, that is genius right there. Kind of pre-selling them and you seeing how it's developed, all that thing. You're like, oh, what if I could have that? And now, guess what? You can. And then the show keeps going on. 61 years is an incredible run. Man, there's got to be so many innovations over the years. Man, this is a big one right here, though.
It is. And it is an experiment. It's the first show to do it. And because the storylines have really lent itself to teaching and bringing, so many fans along, ABC was willing to, go out on a limb and experiment with it. So fingers are crossed that more items are going to be, brought to Home and Heart and will ultimately, be available. But right now at shophomeandheart.com, you can find lots of things that your favorite celebrities are wearing on the show, and jewelry that's been featured on the show, and serums that were developed, within the Deception storyline. And of course, as I mentioned, the red light therapy wand and all of those things. So it is crazy innovative, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
Wow. Any chance your invention makes it on the show?
Well, that's a really good point, because I am very proud of the Girly Go Garter. It is my invention. I'd love to tell you how I invented it. So the Girly Go Garter was actually developed out of my necessity to have a comfortable place to wear my mic pack. Because when I'm on set, quite often, they're putting a mic pack on my bra or in my pants. I know we see this all the time, with newscasters and things like that. Where are you going to put those transmitters, right? And in the reality realm of television, there were some shooting days, 12 to 18 hours. And so I was starting to get water blisters from those little hot mic packs on my back. And so one day after filming, I went home and I kind of fashioned something to wear around my leg. And there were leg devices out there, but nothing would kind of hold or stay up once you got hot and sweaty. So I just lost my earbud. So I actually invented the Girly Go Garter, which adheres to your leg and offers pockets, and it will hold up to 3 pounds. So it was my way to solve my own problem, but I didn't realize that people need it for insulin pumps and medical devices. And, brides, you can't lug a handbag down the aisle. So brides want it. And many high schools don't allow prom goers to bring purses to prom. So the girls want a place for their phone and lipstick and, makeup. And so the Girly Go Garter is now, I hold 19 patents on it. And we are in over 6,000 stores currently and, sold in 80 countries. And it's just been one of those things that God gave me the idea. And I was like, I'm going to do that.
Man, that's a true entrepreneur right there. Someone that says, hey, somebody should invent this. Well, I'm going to invent it. Why not? And then, man, look at that. And look at how far it's gone. That's really awesome.
Well, the other thing that I really want your listeners to hear is God wouldn't give you the idea if he didn't give you the way. So I hear a lot of people say, well, I believe I have this idea, but I don't know what to do with it. And where am I supposed to get the money to develop it? And truly, if you have the idea, he wouldn't give you the kernel if he wasn't going to give you the rest of it. You know what I mean? So I walk in faith and I just believe, okay, I hear you. I'm going to walk and I'm going to believe. And I did. I raised, enough money to make it happen. I traveled, I did everything. So I would highly encourage your listeners that sometimes you just have to step out in faith.
Wow. Yeah, you're modeling that for sure. So I want to kind of get back to General Hospital just a little bit. So
yeah.
Everyone on there is pretty much known for drama, right? It's all about drama, soap operas. What about off camera? Can they turn that off? Are they just drama queens and kings in real life, or what do they look like behind the scenes?
Well, interestingly enough, are you familiar with Morgan Fairchild?
Oh yeah, the legend.
The legend. Did you know that she's my co-star at Home and Heart?
I did see that. That's amazing right there.
Amazing. And so lovely. But I will tell you that there are a few people, I won't give you names, who have been on the show for a very long time. And so, I, of course, I watched the show as a young girl with my great grandmother, but I hadn't watched the show for years. So when I was being introduced to them, there was an expectation that I would know who they were. And I recognized, this particular person, but I said, I'm Andy Paige. This is a real honor, so nice to meet you. And she said, yes. I said, I'm so sorry. Your name is? And you would have thought that I had slapped her and asked her to dig a ditch. So I have made maybe 1 or 2 enemies on set because I didn't do my due diligence and have all the names down. But I promise that I'm making up for it. I bring donuts to the set. I bring things to try to make up for it. But yeah, there is a little drama when it comes to, being on set, especially with people who've had the same role and won, Emmys and awards for their roles. And they do have this expectation that, you should kind of know who they are.
But hey, donuts can fix a lot of problems. You
Krispy
bring
Kreme solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this. I've read a little bit about how people interview to get a job on QVC. Can you take me through the process, how you got that job?
Yeah. So, I actually, when I moved to New York at 17, and I'm a high school dropout from, a small town in Alabama, as I mentioned. And, I got my GED, which means your graduate equivalency diploma. And I immediately got into college, which is great. But, I'm still kind of a small town high school dropout from Alabama. And I really felt like I kind of needed to over-educate myself to prove that, I was worthy, I suppose. So I just kept working. I really wanted to be a sportscaster. Growing up in Alabama football was everything to me. And I grew up in the time of, Roger Staubach and, the Dallas Cowboys. And, it was something that brought my family together. And I just wanted to be a part of sports in a really big way. So I thought that I was going to be a great sportscaster. And when I got out of school with a double master's in media studies and broadcast journalism, and I could not get a job, I was completely floored. I couldn't believe it. But at one of the conventions that I went to looking for work, I stumbled across an open audition for QVC. And so I'm in my 20s at this point. I'm very young. I'm educated and I'm looking for work. And, I went through the recruiting process and the educational process of QVC, but I wasn't good enough to make it to air. So I went through all of that work and again, kind of failed at that too, if you will, So very frustrated and believing, okay, what am I supposed to do next? I then, got the opportunity to get my first job in television on Starting Over, but I still had all of those skills of broadcast journalism and the knowledge of sports and the knowledge that QVC had given me back in my 20s. So during COVID, when everything changed and they needed to hire people who understood lighting and camera and could do their own hair and makeup and who could sell from their home, because all of the QVC hosts were no longer allowed in studio, everything became remote. I actually, had the opportunity to be like, someone said, that QVC is looking for people like you again. And so I reached out, and the same people who had, hired me, if you will, but not hired me for air, but hired me for training, 25 years earlier, were still there.
Wow.
So I was able to remind them and send them some videos. And so it was actually in 2020 with a couple of videos and just a little ding, 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 remember me, I started working for QVC after all that time. So again, planting the seed, right? I planted the seed and then the fruit bears later.
And that's sports background. That's good for you, just saying things on the fly about something. You get a little bit of information. You have to just keep on talking. That's the most amazing part to me.
That is very true. The same is true for QVC. Dead air means no one's buying. It means that things aren't being explained. So I do have the gift of gab, which I'm sure you probably caught on to.
Yeah, it's very valuable to have. So you've mentioned a couple times you've been in the makeover space. What got you so passionate about getting people able to have makeovers without breaking the bank?
Well, I come from beautiful, strong Southern women who believe in the illusion, if you will, of beauty and style. I mean, we never had very much, but we were very proud. And my grandmother made most of our clothes. We always looked great. My grandmother had great style. My mother had great style, and so did my great grandmother for that matter. And even though we were definitely, middle to lower income family, because my grandmother and my family put us together in such a beautiful way, you would have never known it. So I was raised with the skill of how to, look great, look polished and pulled together. And that appearance, opens lots of doors. It helps, kind of create perceptions. And in many ways, it endears people to you in a way that, if you didn't pull yourself together in quite an attractive package, then you might not have had the same opportunity. So I was taught that at a very young age. And so then going to New York and again, being in a situation where I'm a high school dropout, I'm young, who's going to listen to me, who's going to take me seriously, I knew that I had to walk through the door, looking my best, trying my hardest, and putting my best foot forward so people would naturally give me a little more credence and be more inclined to listen to what I had to say. So it just became a very important thing to me. And I recognize the importance of first impressions.
And just like that, I just turned purple. I put a little makeup on I just like to tone up a little bit. This is something I do. This just works for me and my color tones. But let me ask you this: on your end, if you could suggest maybe just one beauty tool technique, what would it be that could kind of change the game for a lot of people?
Do you want to know about men or women?
Let's start with men, since I just did my makeover. Let's start with men, then we'll go to the women.
I love the purple. It's very royal.
Yeah, shout out to Prince.
The one thing that the mistake I think that a lot of men make is they don't wear things that fit them. And when you buy a beautiful suit and you don't have it tailored, the tailoring of course costs more. But if you have a suit tailored to you, then you're going to get 2 to 3, even 4 times as much wear and longevity out of that suit. So tailoring, especially for men, it really sends the message that you care about the details. And ultimately, it makes you appear as if you have a little more stature. And I believe it holds you in a different posture. And I think that's the one thing. So, men have a tendency not to wear things that are tailored to them. And I know that a lot of men, worry about where they carry their weight, and that's why they want to hide that. But there's other ways to kind of camouflage that. So I would highly encourage most men who are listening to think about wearing things that, fit them just a little better. So that would be the first thing for men. Then for women, I have a very simple one. And I actually would encourage and almost put out a challenge to women that if they will brighten their lipstick and wear lipstick every day for 30 days, I would love to see how it changed their life, because wearing a brighter color lipstick, it brightens your smile, it whitens your teeth, it makes you look younger. But even more importantly, we have the benefit of being able to draw a beautiful color around our information box. So lipstick not only makes you look younger and more vibrant, but it also encourages people to watch you speak and listen to what you say.
Wow, I've never heard it put that way. That's pretty cool. So, what's lipstick shade? How are we picking out shades these days? I don't know anything.
Yeah, well, just a little brighter. That's really where I go. I'll tell you, the easiest way to choose the perfect lipstick for you is to match it to your gums. Like if you roll your mouth down just a little bit and you look at your gums, that is a natural shade for you. And the other thing that's so crazy, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, but really makeup is mimicking the look of love. So what you're really trying to do is ultimately create the look of when you want to be kissed and you are, so happy to be in someone's presence and you're in love and your eyes dilate and you get a flush to your skin. So cosmetics are just all about creating the look of love. However you look when you naturally flush, and whatever color your lips become when, they are engorged with blood and they want to be kissed. That's ultimately what is going to make you look the most enhanced and beautiful. And it's not that hard to find.
There you go. Hey, the 30-day lipstick challenge. You heard it right here. 30 days, brighter shade, see what happens. Now, I recommend purple. Like, obviously, I recommend purple, but you do you.
How did you go purple? What has happened?
Man, I have no idea. I've been doing this is like episode 240, maybe. I've never gone purple. This is all for you, though. It's just for you. So, no
oh
idea.
my gosh.
We're
Okay,
roll with it. I feel like I'm
okay.
on Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory where that girl turns. You remember that? I guess I ate too many, whatever Willy Wonka ate. So, anyways,
So you didn't touch anything? You didn't touch anything? It just happened?
I didn't touch anything. I was just listening to you, and it just happened.
Oh my gosh, God is good. Okay, we're gonna roll with it.
Oh yeah, I like it. I think it looks good on me. But you kind of mentioned it, kind of the look of love. I want to kind of transition into your podcast, The Dating Lab.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you started it and what it's all about.
Well, so I am a couple of episodes in. I'm going to launch with my first 5 episodes. So we hope to launch at the end of October. But it is just my latest obsession. And, as you can probably tell, I'm someone who listens. Like if I get an idea and I can't let go of it, I'm going to follow it. And my latest obsession is modern dating. Is bananas out there. I'm really fortunate that I'm happily married and I loved dating. So when I have all of these incredible women in my life and men who, can't kind of make it through, and the dating apps are so difficult and just finding love is harder and harder. So I've been doing a deep dive into research about what's going on with the apps and why dating has become so difficult. And, we now have a couple of generations of people who are really more comfortable in a virtual world than they are the real world. And I think that's really affecting dating. So I've got some amazing interviews on the horizon, and I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with modern dating. But my podcast is called The Dating Lab, and with the Hillbilly Yenta. And I am known as the Hillbilly Yenta because, as I mentioned, I'm from Alabama, and I have married a fabulous Yankee man who's half Jewish. And so Yenta is a Yiddish term for matchmaker. So he actually coined me the Hillbilly Yenta, which I take on very proudly. So I'm the Hillbilly Yenta, but it's just an exploration of modern dating. And it's not, a complaint platform. It's really trying to get to the crux of, I just believe every mop has a handle. So how is it that we are not finding love and coupling up and, living our best life with, a partner?
That's it. I want to take that. I'm happily married as well, but I'm interested in this because I tell my wife all the time, you're stuck with me. I'm not going back out there. I don't know what happens out there, but I don't want to be a part of it. I bet it's super interesting though. There's so many more options now. I have some friends that they got married from these apps, and then I've had friends that have had disasters. So I can't look forward. I'm looking forward to checking that out. So when this episode airs, it'll be coming out like towards the end of October as well. So we'll be able to check it out.
Yes. We want to have at least 5 released. So I've got 2 in the can, and I've got 3 more that I'm filming in the next couple of weeks. So we'll release with at least 5, and then we'll start to build from there.
There you go. At the Dating Lab. You guys make sure you check that out. We'll link that in show notes as well so you can get ready for it. So let me ask you this. You've had this incredible career spanning all across those show business and your actual business and being an inventor. What's the biggest lesson you've learned that still guides you today?
I've actually kind of mentioned it, but I really want people to hear that it is so important that you recognize there's value in all work. So no matter the task that you are doing, there is value in giving your best. So even the smallest things, I'm not a corner cutter. I'm always going to try my hardest and do my best. And that has served me in ways that I still can't believe how it continues to bear fruit. So, showing up, being prepared, I'm always on time. I'm very respectful. I, was taught right from wrong. I do my best. I'm honorable. You can trust me. I think all of those things that most of us were taught. And we see lots of people who maybe don't do that. And there are lots of examples of what we think are people that get ahead, cutting corners and not taking the right path. But in the end, even if the right path takes a little more time, it takes a little more effort, I believe that doing the right thing ultimately bears, the most prosperity. And that's just a lesson that I have always lived by. It's what I was taught by my parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. And I do believe that it truly will bear you the most prosperity.
Absolutely. And it's clearly bared fruit in your life across many different areas. That stuff never goes out of style. Showing up early, giving your best, being positive. I was just reading a Forbes article right before we got in here about all these Gen Z graduates who are going into the workplace and getting fired because they're not showing up on time. They're not giving their full effort. They're not dressing appropriately. They're not talking appropriately. The things that you grew up and learned and took those to heart have made you successful. On the flip side, it can cost you as well.
It's true. I know that we live in an age of amazing, innovation and technology, and there's lots of ways for us to put less effort in and get a bigger result. And that's awesome. I mean, the phone has been an amazing innovation in my life. There's lots of ways that my life has been improved, and it doesn't take as much effort to do the same amount of work. But, there are some things that you just can't let go of. And, being respectful of other people, being honorable, those are things that, you just can't replicate. So it doesn't matter how, energy or what you're producing at work, if you're not kind of showing respect and common courtesy to everyone around you with being on time and trying your best, then, you're not giving to the team.
That's it, man. I could ask you questions all day about all of your many things, but I want to be respectful of your time. So tell people how they can, have so many ways. What's the best place to keep up with you and all that you have going on?
Well, I'm so grateful for this platform. I've enjoyed my time so much. And thank you for allowing me to tell people that you can find me at Andy Paige, and I spell my name with a Y, just like a boy. So AndyPaige. So AndyPaige.com, girlygogarter.com. And then when it comes to Shop Home and Heart, you can go to shophomeandheart.com for all the things that we are celebrating on General Hospital. And then on Instagram, I am the Andy Paige, or Shop with Pearl, which is my name on General Hospital. So Shop with Pearl GH on Instagram.
Very cool. Man, thank you so much for coming on and sharing so many life lessons that, hey, from a small town in Alabama all the way to the top. And that's an amazing story. We're proud to call you from Alabama. That's awesome. We need more like you.
I am so honored to be with you. Thank you so much. And I love your purple. This means so much. It's almost a little Mardi Gras.
This is special just for you now. Okay. I don't do this for everyone.
Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on here. Thank you guys for listening this week and learning all these so many life lessons that Andy shared with us today. It's awesome. And I'm going to rename this the Relentless Purple Positivity Podcast. I think that's the new name of this, but hey, share this message with somebody. Someone needs to know that, hey, you can come from small background, little tiny Alabama, and do things the right way. Treat people right. Show up early. Speak life into other people. All these small town things that kind of are looked at as old fashioned, they still work. And Andy's living proof of that. Work ethic is undefeated. So thank you. Share that message with somebody. You guys will see you next week on the Relentless Positivity Podcast.